has a final word, and their final word is that Obamacare is a tax. So it's a tax. They decided it was constitutional. So it is a tax, and it's constitutional. That's the final word. That's what it is.
I apologize for showing up unannounced. I've been trying to call your staff. They won't return my phone calls. So let me ask you, after your comments about the president, do you feel that voters are owed a better explanation than just, I misspoke?
I think that, as I stand by my statement, that I misspoke and I apologize.
Okay, and who are you apologizing to?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
I apologize. We talk to you all the time. You're a very forthcoming guy. Who's telling you not to talk and to handle it like this?
I stand by my statement that I wrote, that you have, and I misspoke and I apologize.
Was it that you thought it would go over well in Elbert County where folks are very conservative and you'd never say something like that in the suburbs?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
Is there anything that I can ask you that you'll answer differently?
I stand by my statement that I misspoke and I apologize.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
My dear fellow citizens, while confined here in the Birmingham City Jail, let call my present activities unwise and untimely. Seldom do I pause to answer criticism of my work and ideas. Twice I damned all the criticism that caused my death. My secretary would have little time for anything other than such correspondence in the course of the day, and I would have no time for constructive work. But since I feel that you are men of genuine
differences and preferences, never breathe a word of hate. Let the love that binds us constantly remind us of the one life that we are. Let's love and celebrate. Love and celebrate. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are.
Welcome everybody. Oh yeah, welcome to Let's Talk About It. What's going on, y'all? Woo! Yes. Okay, I know, calm down. Yes, indeed. Okay, y'all, welcome to Let's Talk About It. You are listening to Spreaker's most informative political talk show on the net, don't you know? How y'all doing? How you doing, Jackie?
I am doing great, and I am ready to roll.
Oh, man. Okay, Jackie, I'm so tickled. You're going to have to really work hard tonight to keep me in check because, we have so much to talk about. And I get so excited, y'all. So as I always do, I got excited. Okay, so I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, your host of Let's Talk About It, and helping me to talk about it and helping me to keep you informed every night is the uppity and well-read Jackie Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. Welcome her chimpanzees and the crowd. I have so much funny stuff going on in my head that I just get so excited when I hear the crowd cheering and Romney and Kaufman and the president, everybody's talking. Brenda Lee is singing We Are One. I just get carried away. I love this show. And welcome to the chat room. My baby Sandra Johnson in Jonesboro, Arkansas. She is in here before I can even write welcome. But I ain't going to write welcome tonight. Welcome, y'all. Y'all know where you are. And tonight, our subject is, and Jackie did not lose her mind. She gave us a quite understandable subject that we don't have to worry about what's coming next. So tonight's subject is the breakdown of the State of the Union.
Well,
So,
Brenda, now, you gave me that nice thing about the show title, but what I was really thinking that the show title should be tonight,
what?
something my husband said last night,
What?
watching the State of the Union.
What?
President Obama whips it out.
glad.
Here, Brenda.
I am so glad I didn't write that.
Brenda, he rolled through here and he said, "Woo, President Obama just went up there and whipped it out."
Okay. You know what, Jackie? That reminded me of. I was watching. Your husband is insane, but then he is married to you.
Well, amen.
Okay.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. You know, if one person is freaky and the other one they think is mild mannered, he freaky too. He didn't marry her because she wasn't freaky. So what I'm saying is if he crazy, she crazy. That's what I'm saying.
The way he said it, President Obama just went up there, he whipped it out.
Jackie, that reminded me, Jackie, of watching Unsung the other night, and it was about some rap group, EPWI or something. I can't remember, but when rap groups go on stage, they have a DJ, scratching for them.
Yes.
And this DJ was named the best DJ in the world, and he used to whip it out and scratch the records. And when you said that, DJ Whip It Out just came to my mind.
There you go, the DJ Whip It Out. See, and we've already gone all the way over the bend.
Okay, okay, y'all. So like I said, tonight's subject is the breakdown of the State of the Union. It is not called President Obama Whips It Out.
But it should be.
That was what Jackie wanted the subject to be. Now, I'm the host of The Altar, and I try to do some things so Pastor Collier will not be embarrassed of me. And Jackie just continuously puts my reputation.
So, see, I am not on the altar. Okay.
So we
Don't
see.
do the altars.
And your husband ain't on the altar either.
No. So we are unafraid. And we just say what we think.
Oh, Lord. Okay. So anyway, President Obama whips it out, and we're going to review. We're going to review the whip it out of the State of the Union. Okay, my stomach is already hurt.
Yes, we are. I'm sorry, but I had to share that. I got some other things to share too later.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna quietly try. See, I started this with you before I put my clips up. So I'm quietly trying to tap in my.
Okay, well, let me just give everybody kind of a preview before we get to it.
Please.
Okay, what today's show is going to be comprised of is I pulled 9 clips from the president's speech, and the speech was about an hour long. And I pulled out what I felt were the most salient points in the speech, and we're going to talk about each one of those in turn. In going on the internet today and looking at comments and things that some people wrote about the speech and the response to the speech, which will be at the end of our show tonight, Republican and Tea Party responses, which is just too funny. There were a lot of people with questions and interesting comments and stuff like that, so I want to address some of those that I read today.
Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, I am ready for you.
Are you ready now?
Yeah, although you did try to confuse me. See, I know you were trying to see how on top of it I was. So
I was not either.
So in the upload is SOTU, and on the paper on the schedule is SOTUS. So I was sitting here like a fool trying to like I see it and it won't pull up. I don't know what's wrong. I said, okay, she's just having fun with me. She trying to see how sharp I am, but I'm sharp as a damn tack. I want you to know.
I know that.
Slicker than snot on a doorknob, as we say down in Auburn and Rondo. Amen, Sandra. Welcome to the chat room, DJ Tony Sanchez out of Chicago, baby. So we got Jonesboro and Chicago in the house, and it's going to get a little bit crazier as they start to trickle in. And I'm going to try my damnedest not to look at the chat room.
Yeah, well, they know I don't look, even though they dare me to look. I don't look.
Yeah, they dare you, Jackie, and I'm just so stupid. I look anyhow.
Well, you can't help it. You're just more curious than I am, I suppose.
What they say, I'm curious her and curious her.
Oh, yeah. Well,
okay,
and so too, is that we need to thank our audience for keeping up with us, even though this is a special show. Here they come.
Okay, special show, and we crazy. And it's tough to keep up with us because, I mean, we don't go down the line like Chris Matthews and stay on point, especially me. But tonight, the LTAI crew is going to break down the State of the Union address and Marco Rubio's need to sneak up on a glass of water.
See, we haven't even got to it yet, and here she goes.
Well, that's what the show is about. They need to know what the show is about.
I told her before the show not to even talk about that.
And I'm
and here she is.
I'm fasting and praying, so I'm kind of,
Yeah.
Jackie, he had a need to sneak up on a glass of water.
Brenda,
I just knew you.
Get to that.
I know you gonna break this down for us, and I can hardly wait.
Okay, please, darling, just play the first clip.
Okay, here go the first clip.
Thank you.
All right.
The American people don't expect government to solve every problem. They don't expect those of us in this chamber to agree on every issue. But they do expect us to put the nation's interests before party. They do expect us to forge reasonable compromise where we can. For they know that America moves forward only when we do so together, and that the responsibility of improving this union remains the task of us all.
We lost our sound. It is still moving, but
I hear it, Brenda.
You do? Okay, good. Okay, all right.
Okay, because see now, you're saying, I'm listening to you say we lost our sound because there's a delay.
Okay, well, I'm glad you could hear it, and if you could hear it, the rest of the audience could hear it, so don't worry about what I heard. Go ahead, Jackie, and let's talk about that one.
Okay, well, I thought that this statement was kind of a preemptive strike by the president against the Republicans, because they always accuse the president of wanting to grow government, and they accuse him of wanting government to solve everybody's problems. And that's something that we know isn't true. The president has said more than once that he knows that government is not the answer to every problem. And I would also like to make this point in reference to what the Republicans say, and that is that it's under Republican administration that the government has grown. The government grew under Ronald Reagan.
Yes, it did.
Grew hugely under George W. Bush. I mean, George W. Bush increased the size of government by more than 1/3. And we all also know that George Bush spent a lot of money, but he did not think it was necessary to raise taxes or increase revenues to pay for all of this government expansion that happened over his 8 years. That is why we are so deeply in debt. And even though the Republicans always like to put it on President Obama,
nobody can spend like them heifers.
That's right. Nobody can spend, but they don't really spend money. They just charge.
Yeah, they just charge.
They love to call Democrats tax and spend Democrats.
Yeah.
But at least the Democrats will raise money.
The Republicans are the worst, for example, for how you should run your household.
Yes.
I mean, for real, they are. And when you said that, Jackie, this reminds me, and I never will forget Paul Ryan's face the night that Joe Biden debated him.
Yes.
And when he said, this guy just wrote me a letter asking for $21 million. Did you do that? Everybody does. No, did you do it?
Yes.
Of course I did it. Of course he did. Because that's all. It's just like President was talking about cutting them ribbons last night.
Oh, yes.
They love to get this free money and cut the ribbons.
Yes.
It's an amazing thing. They are just, they keep me confused.
Well, that's because they are confused.
Yes, Jackie, that's very true.
No, well, because what I have come to realize, Brenda, is that the Republican Party, they have no direction, and apparently whatever it is that they actually want is something too horrible for them to say to the rest of us. That's why everything they say and do is so confusing. Because they can't tell us really where they want to go. Because we know from what they do that where they say they want to take the country, that's not where they want to take us.
No, that ain't where they want to take us. They would love to see us looking like some of the little kids out of the Oliver Twist or David Copperfield movie. Just rags and hungry, and them throwing us a penny every now and then. They're an amazing group of people, and they are some, as Daddy used to say, professional liars.
Oh, well, we'll get to the lying part later on.
Professional liars. Yes, okay, Jackie, so continue on.
Yes, please.
Would you like
the second clip?
Okay, you like me to play the second clip? Yeah. All right. I'm you know, y'all, I'm just following orders. I'm gonna play the clips, and Jackie's gonna break it down. You know, Jackie explains everything here at the show, and then if y'all don't really understand, then I give you the Negro version. All right, everybody, here we go.
Over the last few years, both parties have worked together to reduce the deficit by more than $2.5 trillion. Mostly through spending cuts, but also by raising tax rates on the wealthiest 1% of Americans. As a result, we are more than halfway towards the goal of $4 trillion in deficit reduction that economists say we need to stabilize our finances. Now we need to finish the job. And the question is, how? In 2011, Congress passed a law saying that if both parties couldn't agree on a plan to reach our deficit goal, about $1 trillion worth of budget cuts would automatically go into effect this year. These sudden, harsh, arbitrary cuts would jeopardize our military readiness. They devastate priorities like education and energy and medical research. They would certainly slow our recovery and cost us hundreds of thousands of jobs. And that's why Democrats, Republicans, business leaders, and economists have already said that these cuts, known here in Washington as the sequester, are a really bad idea. Now, some in Congress have proposed preventing only the defense cuts by making even bigger cuts to things like education and job training, Medicare, and Social Security benefits. That idea is even worse.
Job killer! Job killer! Everything he says is a job killer.
Absolutely. Now, let's discuss the sequester.
Yes. First of all, could you explain to us what a sequester is?
Well, in Washington speak, a sequester is simply a removal of spending. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Taking part of their budget and just lopping it off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's what the sequester is.
Mm-hmm.
And the Republicans are now trying to put, what I love about these guys is they do this stupid crap because they were this came from them holding the country hostage in 2011 over the debt ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is where this came from. And even though President Obama was trying to offer those fools a deal, they wouldn't take it at that time. Now they wish they had, of course, but that's something totally different.
We stand ready to work with the president. We're waiting on him to lead.
Yeah, well, he can't lead blind folks that won't follow. Okay?
Jackie, they stand ready and they vote down anything he comes up with.
Yes.
They vote against their own damn plans.
Oh, absolutely.
If they come up with it and the president say, I like that. Job killer.
Yes. Well, what is most interesting about the sequester, though, is that at the beginning of the year, they put the sequester off for 3 months. They put it off until March the 1st. Now, even though we know that the effects of this would be truly devastating, would hurt employment, would hurt growth, would hurt all of these things in our economy, our Congress is scheduled to go on vacation for 10 days here very soon.
Well, listen, if your pimp paid you,
Go ahead, Brenda.
if your pimp paid you before you gave him, or your customer, your John paid you before you gave him the putty tat, will you take the money and run?
Brenda, I really don't even understand what you're
I'm breaking that down, y'all. The taxpayers, they get their pay, they get their check. They don't have to do shit. They can take off and go vacation. Hell with us.
Well, I guess.
Now do you see?
I guess that's the feeling.
Now do you see what I bet Tony and them understood. Y'all, y'all know how I do it. I give y'all the Negro version of when Jackie starts to explain things in case it go over y'all head. So what she said had said was she said that Congress ain't done shit. I'm breaking it down. And they getting ready to go on a 10-day vacation. And what I said was, well, if your John paid you before he got to Punani, wouldn't you take the money and run? So y'all see what I'm saying? We are being pimped. And we done messed around and paid these hoes before we got in the thing, and they going on vacation. All right, that's the Negro version. Continue on, Jackie.
Now I get it, Brenda. Thank you for breaking that down for me.
Yeah, I have to keep.
It goes over somebody's head.
Tony said.
Over my head.
Tony said, "Hell yeah, I understand."
Okay.
See, Sandra understand. Okay, so now Jack is with us.
So everybody understands.
Yeah. Okay.
So what this says to me is that the Republicans have finally decided to just screw it. They just go crash the whole thing because they hate Obama that bad.
Jackie, I don't mind being pucked every now and then.
Yeah.
But they didn't bring no KY jelly, no Vaseline.
No condoms.
No condoms. They just pucking us.
Yes.
They don't care if it hurt, if we like it, whether we say, This is amazing to me.
Well, I think that it is phenomenal, but it just seems to me that poor Mr. Boehner's just throwing up his hands. He can't herd these cats, and the country just have to die.
Look, Jackie, he has tried to whoop them with barbed wire fencing. That just he can't keep these cows in the pasture.
Yeah, but there is an option open for Mr. Boehner.
What is that, to die?
Take it.
What is that, to shoot
what
himself?
What he needs to do is call up Miss Nancy Pelosi and say, Miss Nancy Pelosi, please help me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because he's being run by his crazy folks over way on the right wing.
Yeah, and see, Nancy Pelosi has an up on him because she's a woman.
Yes.
And women know how to talk to men. We know how to get what we want out of them. And even in her 70s, she's still good looking.
Well,
and look, and even in her 70s, she's younger than anybody in the
Look, Brenda. Even though that, but also because she is just a better politician.
Yes.
Than John Boehner. When she was Speaker of the House, our Congress is the most productive in history.
Uh-huh.
Stop it.
I'm sorry, Jackie. And you know, before you started to say that, I started to say, and she does not have crying fits.
No, it's not.
John Boehner does.
No.
Yeah.
But if you think about all the things that were accomplished during the time that Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, I mean, tough things that nobody said could get done.
Mm-hmm.
She managed to get it done.
Yeah.
She's just better at this.
Because she's a woman. We can get shit done.
Well, she did.
Ask your grandmother.
Yeah.
8 children.
He needs her to help him. He needs some help from the Democrats. And he's just afraid to do what needs to be done. It's like, look, John, stop crying and grow yourself a pair.
Okay.
Let's get this show on the road.
Okay, and quit all that damn crying.
Yes.
I mean, last night I thought he was going to break out crying just at the thought of the president walking in. Don't cry, whatever you do. You know, I don't know, Jack, if you saw that interview that was done by Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes. And she had John Boehner and his wife and her mustache on. And Jackie, just talking to Leslie Stahl ain't really talking about anything significant. It certainly wasn't anything that was emotional. And this some bitch just burst out crying 2-3 times during the conversation. And Leslie Stahl, she thought he was having a mental breakdown right there before her on 60 Minutes. And she said to the wife and the mustache, does he do this all the time? And she said, mm-hmm. Like, and I'm so sick of his ass. I can't say, did you brush your teeth? He busts out crying. I don't know. So I'm telling you, y'all gonna find out years later when he's dead and gone or retired that they had his brain at the Smithsonian. And they found out that he had some real mental issues. I'm telling you, if you look at him, he was about to cry at any moment last night. And that happens to stroke victims, you know, Jackie.
Well, I thought the way he looked at me last night is simply that he had indigestion.
Yeah, that too. Turd, crossways, all of that.
How did I know you were going to say that?
Because he looked like he was having indigestion and a turd crossways. It was like, I have got to go to the toilet, and I got to go now. And the more the president spoke, the more he squirmed in that seat. And he looked absolutely ridiculous, Jackie, as the president started to say they deserve a vote. And Joe Biden jumped up clapping and stuff, and there he sat just squirming in his seat. Just,
Well, he finally stood up, though.
Yeah, I guess he said, they kept the camera right on him. And I said, this man is representing, he's the face of the Republican Party tonight. And he looked like he's got constipation real bad.
Yeah, well, he did seem unhappy.
Yeah, and that spoke for the Republican Party to me. Okay, would you like for me to play number 3, or have you finished with the sequester?
Yes, we are done with the sequester.
Without my crazy ass interrupting.
Deficit reduction.
All right, okay, deficit reduction. Before you say that, let me tell you this. You remember Joe Walsh, the Tea Party deficit hawk?
Yes.
The one that was $100 and some $1,000 behind in his back pay.
In his child support.
In his child support, yes. Well, you know, he lost to Tammy Duckworth.
Deservedly so.
Deservedly so, the double amputee. Just look at her! Look at her! He lost to her.
Yes.
All she does is talk about her military career, and she got them metal legs. Look at her! Okay, so his crazy mouth got him unseated.
Deservedly so.
Deservedly so. And damn if he wasn't on TV yesterday, a story where he has gone into the court and asked the judge to permanently remove him from the responsibility of child support because he ain't got no job. Mm-hmm. This is the perfect example of these crazy ass Republican Tea Parties swearing. Mm-hmm. Government, oh big government. Now who the hell do you think gonna feed his 3 kids?
Well, it seems like he doesn't care. What is it you said that he doesn't? What was it? He didn't know why, something about people taking care of their children, and you said, yeah, and he won't feed them either.
Yeah. He said that he wasn't, when he was in the Congress,
yes.
He wrote this, he was on TV screaming on a video.
Yes.
I won't let this president put one more dime of debt on the backs of my children. And I said, yeah, and you won't feed them either. And so when I said that, boy, some of the Facebook Tea Partiers came out to, why Obama's a liar. What the fuck that got to do with him paying his child support? Well, ain't nobody said nothing about Obama. They accuse Obama of everything.
Yes, well, that's true.
They accuse him of everything. If they didn't get paid because they didn't go to work, they didn't go to work because Obama's a liar.
Yeah.
I mean, these folks are shepherds for the devil. And this son of a bitch asked the court yesterday, after he done got 3 babies by his wife,
Yes.
to relieve him of permanent, like he ain't never gonna get no job.
Yes.
You know, just relieve me permanently from paying child support. Now, I know this woman is glad this son of a bitch. I hope he don't visit those kids because he is unglued.
Well, and what seems pretty obvious is that he doesn't give a damn about his kids.
Doesn't give a damn about his kids because...
And he feels he's being put upon.
Yeah.
For having to support those babies.
Yeah, he worried about that dime that Barack Obama gonna put on their back.
Yes.
He is so concerned about that, and he calls himself a deficit hawk.
Yes.
And well, we see where he is. All he is a damn fool, crazy ass hawk. But I know the judge gonna tell him, you better get your ass out there and pick up some cans. But in the meantime, I guarantee you she's getting food stamps. Well,
it's just like I said before, Brenda, I don't know anything about that. But can we get to the...
All right, let's go to... I'm sorry. That when I saw the word...
Everybody knows that when Brenda starts talking about Joe Walsh, she just loses her mind.
I lose my damn mind. I saw the word deficit, and I just thought, yeah, deficit shepherd for the devil, Joe Walsh. All right, here we go, y'all.
To hit the rest of our deficit reduction target, we should do what leaders in both parties have already suggested and save hundreds of billions of dollars by getting rid of tax loopholes and deductions for the well-off and the well-connected. After all, why would we choose to make deeper cuts to education and Medicare just to protect special interest tax breaks? How is that fair? Why is it that deficit reduction is a big emergency, justifying making cuts in Social Security benefits but not closing some loopholes? How does that promote growth? Now is our best chance for bipartisan, comprehensive tax reform that encourages job creation and helps bring down the deficit. We can get this done. The American people deserve a tax code that helps small businesses spend less time filling out complicated forms and more time expanding and hiring. A tax code that ensures billionaires with high-powered accountants can't work the system and pay a lower rate than their hard-working secretaries. A tax code that lowers incentives to move jobs overseas and lowers tax rates for businesses and manufacturers that are creating jobs right here in the United States of America. That's what tax reform can deliver. That's what we can do together. I realize that tax reform and entitlement reform will not be easy. The politics will be hard for both sides. None of us will get 100% of what we want. But the alternative will cost us jobs, hurt our economy, visit hardship on millions of hard-working Americans. So let's set party interests aside and work to pass a budget that replaces reckless cuts with smart savings and wise investments in our future. And let's do it without the brinksmanship that stresses consumers and scares off investors. The greatest nation on earth cannot keep conducting its business by drifting from one manufactured crisis to the next. We can't do it. Let's agree right here, right now, to keep the people's government open and pay our bills on time and always uphold the full faith and credit of the United States of America. The American people have worked too hard for too long, rebuilding from one crisis to see their elected officials cause another.
Okay, look, and that don't mean nothing, Jackie, what he just said. Job killer!
Oh, Lord, you are so funny.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, Jackie, talk with us about the deficit.
You are so funny. Well, what the president was talking about here, when he was talking about, quit it, James. See, now I got the peanut gallery over here. Over here talking about, just whip his dick out now. Just quit it now.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
This chat room is the peanut gallery, too. They are crazy.
I know. Every time we come on, we just get more unprofessional by the day. I know. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help it.
Okay.
Okay. What we're talking about with the deficit reduction. When the president was discussing reforming the tax code, this goes back to the grand bargain that he was talking about with John Boehner more than a year ago. Now, what's really interesting about this is the Republicans feel like since the tax rate went up on the top 1% of Americans, they're through.
Yeah.
And the president is saying, oh, no, because that only got us halfway to where we need to go. And every economist says that we need to close that $1.2 trillion gap that we have in our budget to get things going in the right direction. That we need to have, an additional $4 trillion of savings over 10 years to get our finances settled. We need to have a plan. Now, just as you said on last week's show, the president has already closed our budget deficit tremendously.
Yes.
In 4 years in office. Our budget deficit this year will be under $1 trillion a year for the first time in 6 years.
Ain't true.
And
it ain't true.
And when
it ain't true.
In 6 years, everybody understands that.
Ain't true.
George W. Bush's administration.
Ain't true. He raised it. He added $8 trillion. Ain't true.
Well, in the shared reality, in our common reality, it is. Now, and I have to admit that in the reality that the Republicans live in, it may not be true.
Job killer!
It is true. Yeah. So when the president talks about doing without the brinksmanship that the Republicans are always involved in, that stresses consumers and scares off investors, and that we should not be drifting from one manufactured crisis to the next, that is right square in the Republicans' face. Thank you. And Jackie, they have been doing.
The stock market did pretty damn good today, didn't it?
No, not today, but over Barack Obama's presidency, the stock market has done tremendously well. It has more than doubled.
Yes.
That's the thing that always amazes me too about these CEOs and finance types who were working so hard to get Mitt Romney elected president. Like it's like everybody has forgotten how to count. These guys are making more money than they have ever made. And I dare him talk about raising the minimum wage. Yeah, well, we'll get to that too.
We, damn it, wants to keep y'all on welfare.
Yes.
I dare him talk about raising the minimum wage.
Yeah. Well,
job killer!
Let me tell you, when he went to that minimum wage thing, child, you could have dogged me over with a feather.
Look, I think the Democrats were even in shock.
Oh, look, we were all in shock. And then when he said, raising the minimum wage, yes, and he said to $9 an hour, it's like, ooh, hallelujah.
Okay, Jackie, I think they were all stunned. What the fuck did he say?
Oh yeah,
Jackie, you know that reminds me of The Color Purple when Sophia said, "Y'all want to come work for me?" Hell no. What the fuck? What did she say to Miss Millie? I think that's how everybody felt last night when the president said raising minimum wage to $9 an hour. I know white folks all through the chamber. What did that boy say?
Yeah, and the thing about the minimum wage that that a lot of people don't realize is this. Every time we come to talking about raising the minimum wage, the Republicans go ape shit.
Ape shit.
So that is how we got the earned income credit. It was a compromise during the Clinton administration to avoid raising the minimum wage. What they said is, well, we'll put something in the tax code so that poor folks can get a tax payment, get a bigger refund every year. So instead of raising the minimum wage, we'll do that. And now they're mad about the earned income credit, even though it was a Republican idea. Because it's just like you said, the country isn't Oliver Twist enough for them.
Yeah. They want you in complete and total rags.
And they always say that raising the minimum wage is going to kill job creation. And there is nothing in our history that makes that statement true.
Jackie, don't they understand that the wheel goes round and round? I mean, if they pay workers shop, therefore
they should understand that.
They buy their products, which makes them so fucking rich. I don't get why they can never make enough. But you see, it's enough rich bastards in this country that could have contributed to the national debt and fix this whole thing. But they would rather fight Barack Obama. It's as though they don't give a damn about this country. They are willing to bring the whole damn country down just so history won't read that this black man did what he's about to do.
Well, the thing about it is the Republicans can forget about that. I mean, these are things that they can absolutely forget about, because I think that as history is written, because, it takes a while to get past whatever's going on for us to really see the history and see the benefits and things. And I believe that President Obama did enough in his first term to cement his place in history.
Yeah.
So they can forget about that.
Yeah, and
why don't they just do their jobs? That's all.
Well, now, if the Koch brothers get to own all the schools and universities, then they can rewrite the history books. That's their main concern.
Yes, well, some of us will still remember it.
Okay, Jackie, some of us will still know the truth. Okay, are you ready for?
Keep telling it. Yes.
Are you ready for clip number 4? All right, y'all. So I'm gonna quit screaming job killer until after the clip plays.
Most of us agree that a plan to reduce the deficit must be part of our agenda. But let's be clear. Deficit reduction alone is not an economic plan. A growing economy that creates good middle-class jobs, that must be the North Star that guides our efforts. Every day, we should ask ourselves 3 questions as a nation. How do we attract more jobs to our shores? How do we equip our people with the skills they need to get those jobs? And how do we make sure that hard work leads to a decent living? Now, a year and a half ago, I put forward an American Jobs Act that independent economists said would create more than 1 million new jobs. And I thank the last Congress for passing some of that agenda. I urge this Congress to pass the rest.
The president, he can be so cute sometimes. I thank that Congress, and I thank this Congress to pass the rest.
Well, amen. And I thought that you would find this particularly relevant, because one of the things that also sends you over the edge is whenever a Republican says that the president has no plan for creating jobs.
Yeah, that drives me crazy.
Yes.
I mean, this is the biggest lie ever told. As the president put out his Jobs Act book, they had this thing printed, and he went around the country on a bus tour holding up his jobs plan, begging Congress, pass this bill. And he doesn't have a plan.
Well, and what they should have just said is the truth, which I know eludes them, is that he does not have a plan that we like.
Yeah, why don't they just say that?
Yeah,
I swear they think they may be smoking crack, Jackie, but we're not. They will say any shit to us and expect us to believe it.
Yes, well, when President Obama spoke about job creation, I just really appreciated what he had to say, because we all know by now that Republican economics, as George H.W. Bush called it voodoo economics,
Mm-hmm.
really, really don't work well for the nation as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And when we live in the United States and the income inequality of our country is beginning to approach that of South American countries like Mexico and Venezuela and all those other places, because, you know, in South America, the rich people have to live behind high walls with broken glass and barbed wire on top to keep the others out.
Yeah.
Okay, and they live their standard of living. That does make them the royals of their country, but their countries are in horrible turmoil, and they have to worry about their children being kidnapped and about all this other stuff, you know, about keeping the dirty hub masses away.
I know, Jackie, that's what's amazing to me, is that, is this what they want for our country? Because if everybody is poor, survival of the fittest is going to kick in.
Yes.
And you are going to have to be carrying rocks in your pocket every day.
Yes.
Or an M16.
Yeah, I was about to say, or your firearm.
Yeah, or your firearm that you fight so hard for, because you're going to need it.
Yes.
Because when people are hungry and starving, they do desperate things.
Yes. And
don't you want this country to be where we can just walk down the street and be happy and enjoy the sunshine and folks going to work? But I don't understand what they think's going to come out of them keeping.
According to Republican philosophy, the reason that poor people are poor is because there's something wrong with poor people. And even though you can talk about how poor people work, and if they work for minimum wage, is this $7.25 an hour, the federal minimum wage. In California, the minimum wage is $8 an hour. And in the city of San Francisco, you're going to love this. I did not know that cities could do this until San Francisco did this a few years ago. In the city of San Francisco, minimum wage is $15 an hour.
Woo! But and Jackie, you know, that's still close to borderline poverty when you talk about the expenses.
Exactly, when you're talking about the expense.
Yeah. Now, if minimum wage was $15 an hour in Florida, you'd be living okay.
Yes. And
but in California, that ain't a whole lot of money.
No, that is not very much. And the way that came about in San Francisco was just that working folks were leaving the city because they just couldn't afford to live there anymore. And they were having, the restaurants and people were having trouble getting waiters and all these other people that are crucial to the city, because the city relies on tourism. That is their biggest moneymaker, is tourism. And if you don't have anybody who's going to work in those hotels and work in those restaurants and work down on the wharf and all that other stuff, you've got problems.
And these honest, hardworking people do this for them every day. Every day. Every day. They're at those hotels, at Disney and everything, working their butts off, making making Disney look good and Universal Studios, and they act like these people do nothing. Yes, exactly. They discount. Well, in Republican land, work is not valued. It's not capital is valued. Cheating is valued to them. You know, Jackie, when you talk about it was one of the late night comedians, Jon Stewart or somebody, that said, how do you make, $400 billion last year? You stealing. So yeah, nobody makes that. Nobody works and makes that kind of money. You're stealing, you're cheating, you're doing something that just ain't on the up and up. Yeah, well, the other thing too about folks working for a living, the chief executive officer of the Granite Rock Company told me a story years and years ago that I will never, ever forget, because we were having a meeting and we were talking about
these issues in our county here in Monterey County. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood up and he told the story, because we had some folks in there talking about how, how exorbitantly farm workers are being paid.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us in there were like, what the hell is he talking about? And this man stood up. He's the CEO of a billion-dollar corporation. Okay. He stands up and he says, when I first came into this business, our chief executive was whoever the guy was. And we went out to a job site. It was one of those public job sites where they were building freeway overpasses or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the weather had been bad. It had been raining. It was muddy. It was messy. And the job had fallen behind. Because in California, in the wintertime, a lot of times when it starts raining, and especially back then, I mean, it just rains and rains and rains, and you can't really do earth moving and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So the CEO, he's pissed because this is behind and it's going to cost the company money, and he goes out there to give the guys on site a kick in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And he says they go out there and he's just bitching at the guys. He's just bitching at all these guys in their hard hats,
Mm-hmm.
taking shelter from the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And he stands up on top of a big old Caterpillar earth mover, and he lectures the guys and tells them that he's no panty waist, that he's worked in this industry, and that he can do every one of these jobs on this site, that I know how to operate every piece of equipment on this site.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that the worker who was standing next to him said, yeah, you may be able to operate every piece of the equipment on this site, but you can't do it all at one time.
Thank you.
And that is what makes companies, yeah, you may know how to do it, but you can only do one at a time.
So sit your ass down and
That's
shut
right.
up.
You can't do it all at once. So yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and be grateful and talk to men like they're men and be respectful. Yes. Damn it.
Exactly.
It's amazing to me,
and
they could.
I just want to say one more thing.
Okay.
Is that this CEO that I was talking to, that is something that made an impression on him that carried him when he became the CEO to be a better one than his predecessor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I listen to the Romneys of the world and the Republicans who constantly talk about and call these hardworking immigrants illegals and lazy, and you have no idea. Jackie, there was a big story done, a year or so ago about the Republican governor of Georgia. Mm-hmm. He was going to fix it. He was going to get all them illegals out of their state. Mm-hmm. And so they passed a bill, that would keep them from going to work,
Yes.
We gonna get you and we gonna bust you out here. And so all the illegals, as they want to call them,
yes,
got the hell out of Georgia.
Yes.
And man, then what do you got? You had a big story on CBS about all their fruit and all their vegetables rotting in the fields. And there they had 4 white Republican farmers. Mm-hmm. We didn't know this was going to happen. Well, what the fuck did you think was going to happen?
And the thing about it, you knew that you were hiring undocumented workers. And
yeah, they knew it.
Workers, and not all of the workers were undocumented either. But if your skin was brown and you were the target, and you were being targeted by these laws, of course you're going to leave. You're not going to subject your family to that.
Okay. And Jackie, when they left, all these Republican voting white farmers saw their livelihood, their family, their mortgages, all that shit was at stake, up in the air.
Yes.
Then, they tried to, for those who had immigrants who were legally documented, they were probably the foremen, Mm-hmm. Okay, so the governor puts out another thing saying that nobody could get unemployment checks unless they took whatever job was offered to them. Mm-hmm. And honey, they hired white Americans and black Americans had to take these jobs that the illegals left. Okay.
Yes.
Jackie, they didn't last in them fields for 30 minutes.
Oh, I know.
With the snakes and shit coming at them. They said those Mexicans could whoop out those machetes, Jackie. snap 10 cucumbers off and bag them, and then chop a snake and cook him. Eat him and keep rolling through the field. They said them American white men and black men were gone before noon, came late, but all the Mexicans and stuff that were illegals, as they want to call them, that did showed up on time. And Jackie, those men were making $20 an hour because the farmer had incentives for you to pull in more bushels, you know?
Yes.
And so if you get a bushel, you get $7 an hour. And for every extra bushel, you get 50 cents or $1. Those men were making $20, $25 an hour. That's how, you got to really work to get an extra bushel for an extra 50 cents.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they were making $20 an hour. But that was the best story that really proved the point. These lazy ass Americans are not going to work in the fields like that.
Well, Brenda, it is not just that. It's this. I believe that there are just kind of waves of people. There are folks who do that work in the fields, and you work until you can get your family out of that situation, and then
that's
the
right.
next wave comes. And so when you're asking, especially asking black folks to get out and work in fields that they don't own.
Yeah, it's something. It's a mental thing that kick in for black folks when they talk about working in the field. We no.
We'll work in fields that we own.
But we
we're not too interested in doing that yet.
No.
It is probably time for us to take a break.
It is time to take a break, and that is not your job, Missy. Y'all see how she run me? You see how she run me, right?
No, Brenda, no. And so since we've been on,
say you're sorry.
You need to speak up on some water.
Oh my God, I love this show. Jackie, there's just nothing like this show. Just makes me laugh. It brings me to a great night, and the next morning I'm still laughing. You are listening to Let's Talk About It, Spreaker's most informative political talk show. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, and helping me to talk about it and always helping me to keep you informed is the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert. And missing in action but not forgotten and not gone for good is Jillian I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar Anderson from Down Under. Jill will be back with us as soon as our hours and her hours get a little bit better. But we thank you so much for joining us. Stick around, stay with us. We are going to come back and we're going to explain to you why Rubio, why he felt he had to sneak up on a glass of water. Okay? Y'all don't go nowhere. Stick and stay. Coming up at the 11 o'clock hour, DJ Tony Sanchez, the Eye of the Storm Man. Well, tonight is Wednesday night. It is Steppers Delight tonight. So join DJ Tony Sanchez right here at Spreaker.com for Steppers Delight. Oh, yeah. He's going to do it to you in your ear hole. Oh, don't you just love it? Okay, so all you steppers, Join DJ Tony Sanchez right here at Spreaker.com at the 11 o'clock hour. That's Eastern Time, 10 o'clock Central for Stepper's Delight.
We put this together just for you. I learned how to do it in Chicago. Don't do it very well, but I can keep up with the flow. Stepping isn't hard to learn. Move your feet to the beat, do some fancy turns. Then you and your partner.
Put a spell on you because you're mine. Oh, Daddy, you better stop the things that you do. No, I ain't lying. No, Daddy, I ain't lying. You know I can't stand it. You're running around. You know better, Daddy, than to put me down. I put a spell on you because you're mine. You're mine.
All righty then. That was my girl out of Little Rock, Arkansas, Janice Latrice Perez. As you know, I had her an interview with Janine last Thursday night for over an hour, and boy, did we have a good time. Out of Little Rock, Arkansas. I call her Janine. I put a spell on you, Latrice Perez, and we have just become best of friends. That girl can freaking sing. Okay, and that's her from her new CD, Janine Latrice Perez. That was released December the 18th. So y'all can get it at iTunes, okay? And I look forward to taking the stage with Jenny when I go home in the next 30 days. Woo! I got to go see that girl. All right, so you're back with Let's Talk About It with the wild and wonderful Brenda White and my sidekick and cohort, Miss Uppity Speaks, a.k.a. Jackie Lambert. Okay, so Jackie, are you ready for Rubio's greatest hits?
Well, yeah. What I wanted to do, since we spent the first hour talking about the State of the Union, and we still have few other things to go through.
Yes.
I did want to interject here just something a little different, because we have been talking about the Republicans interspersed with President Obama's remarks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought it would be nice that everybody could kind of hear for themselves. Just hear for yourself what the Republicans are saying.
Yeah, and Jackie, it's amazing. I don't know how they must take them to a room or something and shine light in their eyes. I don't know how they get them all to say the same shit.
Well, you know how. But let's go on and get to Mr. Marcos. I just put a few little clips together, you guys, to just highlight some of what Mr. Rubio had to say in response to President Obama.
Yeah,
and I just want to say too that is such a bad job. I don't know how the Republican Party gets anybody to agree to that gig.
Is this gonna help us explain why he thought he had to sneak up on a glass of water?
No.
Okay, here we go.
Ourselves.
Rubio's greatest hits.
More government isn't going to help you get ahead. It's going to hold you back. More government isn't going to create more opportunities. It's going to limit them. And more government isn't going to inspire new ideas, new businesses, and new private sector jobs. It's going to create uncertainty. Now, I believe in federal financial aid. I couldn't have gone to college without it. But it's not just about spending more money. It's also about strengthening and modernizing them. Economic growth is the best way to help the middle class. Unfortunately, our economy actually shrank during the last 3 months of 2012. But if we can get the economy to grow at just 4% a year, it would create middle-class jobs, and it would reduce our deficits by almost $4 trillion over the next decade.
That even upset the monkeys.
Now, Brenda.
What the fuck did he just say?
Now, Brendan, I just have so many points to make about Mr. Rubio.
Okay, go ahead, Jack. I'm gonna let you get it first, and then if I need to translate into Negro,
you have stuff to say too.
Yeah, and if I have to transfer into Negro translate, then I will. Go ahead.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is that Mr. Rubio seemed awfully nervous. My 18-year-old child watched Mr. Rubio's statement with me.
Yes.
And he was licking his lips and wiping his mouth and wiping sweat off his brow, and he was just fidgety and jittery, and he was just obviously sweating and wiping, And I was like, what is wrong with him? Is it hot in there? And my daughter said, well, yeah, Mom, I'm sure you can't see it, but I'm sure off camera his pants burst into flames, so it's got to be pretty hot.
His pants was on fire.
On fire. Because of talking, and the first thing out of my mouth is, what a lie. That's the first thing out of Mama's mouth.
Okay, Jackie. And DJ Tony Sanchez said he was sweating because he was full of shit.
Quit it, Tony. Please quit it. Don't be
if you could not take a dunk, Jackie, and your turd got crossways, that would make you sweat, wouldn't it?
Well, I guess it would. But,
okay, you had several points to make. Continue. I'm going to try not to look at the chat room.
I'm sorry. But of course, you guys know that Brenda and I are what are known as partisans.
What?
I just want to say that whenever somebody makes a point and they're right, I'll give it to them. I'll say, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But Marco Rubio was not right about anything.
He wasn't right about a damn thing.
He wasn't right about
And Jackie, he left me completely confused. You hear that mild pimp talk tone he was in?
Oh yeah.
Government doesn't that hurts you. That leaves you. But then government helped me go to school.
Exactly right.
So what the fuck did he just he just tore down his whole life.
He sure did, because the government doesn't help you get out of the middle class. It doesn't help you get into the middle class. It doesn't help middle class people. It holds you back. But it didn't hold me back because it helped me to get through school, and now I'm a United States Senator.
Yeah.
Excuse it. Okay, what you talking about, Willis?
I swear that boy was smoking crack.
Yeah, and the way he framed his argument is that President Obama doesn't think that government is big enough. Now, sweetie, we talked about that earlier. If you just look at the record, if you just look at what actually happens under Democratic and Republican administrations, and if you look at what has happened under this administration, that's not true.
Okay. Well, just a minute, Jackie.
Brenda sneaking up on a bottle of water.
Sneaking up on that bottle of water. Why did he do that? The normal thing to do is to say, excuse me.
And step off.
And step off. Get your water. I've been on stage and needed a drink of water, and I had to say, hold on, y'all. Get my water, take a sip, and continue with singing or telling my story, introducing the next song. But he act like he was a thief at a jewelry store.
No, and the way he's looking furtively at the camera, like, yeah, motherfucker, we see you.
He dug down and leaned and crawled over to the water, and he had his eyes cocked like, is the camera still on me?
Oh, I know. That was so funny. Like, look, dude, we still see you. Sorry.
Yeah, what in the heck?
Oh, I know.
Jackie, I could not stop laughing. My stomach is killing me. And, we started the fast today with Pastor Mitty Collier because it is Lent season. Mm-hmm. And I've already lost 2 pounds in 2 days. And I just don't have the energy to laugh at this boy anymore. And it's killing me. I'm telling you, every time I start laughing at him, my stomach just hurts. It's sore from laughing.
I'm sorry. Well, if you want to laugh, let me give you another thing to laugh about.
What?
Because I also did a little fact checking of some of the stuff he said too.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So in Mr. Rubio's speech last night, he said, Mr. President, I still live in the same working class neighborhood I grew up in. My neighbors aren't millionaires. They're retirees who depend on Social Security and Medicare. They're workers who have to get up early tomorrow morning and go to work to pay the bills. They're immigrants who came here because they were stuck in poverty in countries where the government dominated the economy. The tax increases and deficit spending you propose will hurt middle-class families. It will cost them their raises. It will cost them their benefits. It may even cost some of them their jobs. Okay?
And it may even get them an education like it got me.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that is I was surprised to learn that Marco Rubio, even though he's a United States senator, still lived in a working class neighborhood. Well, maybe not quite.
That wasn't true.
Yeah, because apparently the neighborhood that he lives in, the median home price is $700,000.
No, Jackie, that's not a working class neighborhood. He's confused.
Okay. And then when Mr. Rubio bought the home that he lives in a couple of years ago, he paid $550,000 for it. But then right after he closed his loan and bought the home, the bank that he got his loan from, they valued the home at $735,000 and gave him a $100,000 line of credit on that house.
Well, damn.
Did you hear? Did you hear?
That's enough. Take another sip of water.
Of course.
Jackie, do they think that people won't find these lies out?
Brenda.
They just tell lies, and it doesn't matter. You remember when they got so mad, so angry? How dare Candy Crowley fact check Romney? Well, he was lying.
Yeah.
They don't like that. Don't do that.
Well, and then too, that was just in the moment that it happened. And he also goes on to talk about how the president loves to blame the debt on President Bush.
Mm-hmm.
But President Obama created more debt in 4 years than his predecessor did in 8.
Oh, yes.
I would like to address that.
Please do. Straighten that lie out.
When President Bush left office, okay, the country had been running deficits for several years.
Mm-hmm.
And in the budget that the Republicans had approved as President Bush left office, he left trillion-dollar deficits in the budget for as far as the eye could see.
Mm-hmm.
So they act as if the debt problem would not have been so bad if not for President Obama. But that is what President Bush left him.
Mm-hmm.
President Obama, through his own initiative, has taken that deficit down to under $1 trillion.
Yep, but they don't talk about that. They just continue to lie.
No, they don't talk about that.
Mm-mm.
They don't talk about that. And he also went on to talk about how we need a balanced budget amendment. No, we do not. We absolutely do not.
I just said, Jackie, no, we do not.
No. And they know that that's one of their talking points. They don't want a damn balanced budget amendment. Because that would mean that they can't do the shit they've been doing all this time. Okay?
Jackie.
And now he also goes on to talk about Medicare and how Medicare is important to him because it paid for his father's care when he battled cancer and ultimately allowed his father to die with dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Pays for the care his mother receives now.
Mm-hmm.
But Medicare has to change, and anybody who wants to leave it exactly the way it is in favor of bankrupting it.
Mm-hmm.
And he lays this on the president's door, saying that instead of playing politics with Medicare, when is the president going to offer his plan to save it? Well, the president has offered his plan, but they don't like it.
They don't like it, so they continue to say that he hadn't offered anything.
Well, amen. You know, because with the Republicans are really good at this cost-shifting thing. Nothing really costs any less. It's just that somebody else is going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
So we're just going to make old folks and poor folks pay for it. And if they go hungry, well, who cares?
Okay. It's all right. They be all right.
Yes, you know. I mean, it's okay because nobody cares about them anyway because they don't contribute anything.
No.
That is their,
yeah, they just old folks.
Yeah.
They just old folks. And ain't nobody, they ain't missing nothing.
Well, that's the thing, too, is that when I heard that Marco Rubio had agreed to do this,
mm-hmm.
Just like if you're a singer, you don't follow a better singer, right, Brenda?
No.
Even though there's no better singer than you.
That's right.
But,
and if I follow, I'm going to tear the stage up.
I remember, look, I've got to tell this story real quick, that when Brenda was at the Blues Festival a few years ago,
mm-hmm.
he was the closer at the Garden Stage. I know you remember this, Brenda.
Yes.
Because we had a good time last night. Okay, Brenda was the closing act at the Garden Stage at the Monterey Bay Blues Festival.
On a Saturday night.
They had a woman on in front of Brenda. The woman was playing in front of 5 people. She was god-awful. I'm out there, y'all. I am mad. Because I'm mad because I know the organizers of the Blues Festival. And I'm like, how on earth can they put Brenda behind this cow that's run the audience off? Now what we gonna do?
Okay, she ran the whole damn audience off.
Oh, yeah. And Brenda is getting dressed. And she's back there doing her thing. And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I'm pissed because the audience is gone, right? And the festival is she's the closing act, right?
Okay.
Brenda comes out there, that heifer opens her mouth. Not only did the audience come back, there were folks all out on the walkways and in the woods.
Okay, Jackie.
You looked out there, you couldn't see anything but just people who were on their way home, turn around to come back.
And you know, Jackie, I remember I was Bobby Blue Bland, I believe, was in the big arena, which holds 20,000 people inside the arena.
Right.
And people were flooding out of there. I was told that you could hear my voice over the whole Datburn Park.
Well,
and before you knew it, there was not standing room.
No, and I was glad I got my seat early.
Okay, before you do it.
You couldn't even, like, walk around. I mean, it was just packed. It was just people shoulder to shoulder. And then on top of that, because Brenda was wearing it out so, everything went long. The organizers got into trouble with the city.
Okay.
Because nobody would leave, Brenda.
Yeah, it didn't want to leave.
Brenda was trying to get off stage, but nobody would leave. So see, think about being not such a great singer and having to come in behind that.
Yeah, so Marco Rubio, I don't know who in the hell did this to him, but somebody said, you go behind the president.
And I would never, ever want
and you go get your ass woe out.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, these guys just don't care anything for their careers. They don't care for their careers.
No, Jackie, they have to take one for the team. You know, what's his name? Rick Santorum. He explained that to us. He explained that to us in the Republican primary as he got caught in a huge lie.
Oh, yes.
On stage.
Oh, yes.
And I couldn't imagine what he was going to say after he got caught in that lie. And he just said, I took one for the team.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take one for the team. And I was just looking like, oh my God, they will humiliate themselves. I can't imagine these men having children in school and stuff, you know? And what their kids have to face the next day when you have totally lied, been busted out before millions and millions of people.
Yeah.
And you just say dumb shit like Kaufman. I misspoke and I stand by what I said and I stand by. I can't imagine being his child and having to go to school the next morning with kids
living. You know, I'm sure that is really difficult. To be the child of a politician. But,
yes.
There you go.
It's scary.
Listen,
okay, what do you want me to play next?
We're like really running out of time, and we don't have enough time for all the rest of these. So I want to ask you to play clip number 7. Okay, I'll skip 5. I love that one.
And let me take a quick second and welcome to the chat room, Daddy Boo Boo, aka Dave the Rave. He snuck up on us, Jackie. He said he was doing a drive-by. Okay, so here's clip number 7. Tonight.
Tonight, I propose working with states to make high-quality preschool available to every single child in America. That's something we should be able to do. Every dollar we invest in high-quality early childhood education can save more than $7 later on by boosting graduation rates, reducing teen pregnancy, even reducing violent crime. Tonight, let's declare that in the wealthiest nation on earth, no one who works full-time should have to live in poverty, and raise the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour. We should be able to get that done. This single step would raise the incomes of millions of working families. It could mean the difference between groceries or the food bank, rent or eviction, scraping by or finally getting ahead. For businesses across the country, it would mean customers with more money in their pockets. And a whole lot of folks out there would probably need less help from government. In fact, working folks shouldn't have to wait year after year for the minimum wage to go up, while CEO pay has never been higher. So here's an idea that Governor Romney and I actually agreed on last year. Let's tie the minimum wage to the cost of living so that it finally becomes a wage you can live on. Tonight, let's also recognize that there are communities in this country where, no matter how hard you work, it is virtually impossible to get ahead. Factory towns decimated from years of plants packing up, inescapable pockets of poverty, urban and rural, where young adults are still fighting for their first job. America is not a place where the chance of birth or circumstance should decide our destiny. And that's why we need to build new ladders of opportunity into the middle class for all who are willing to climb them. Tonight we stand united in saluting the troops and civilians who sacrifice every day to protect us. Because of them, we can say with confidence that America will complete its mission in Afghanistan and achieve our objective of defeating the core of Al-Qaeda. Defending our freedom, though, is not just the job of our military alone. We must all do our part to make sure our God-given rights are protected here at home. That includes one of the most fundamental rights of a democracy, the right to vote. When any American, no matter where they live or what their party, are denied that right because they can't afford to wait for 5 or 6 or 7 hours just to cast their ballot, we are betraying our ideals. So tonight I'm announcing a nonpartisan commission to improve the voting experience in America, and it definitely needs improvement. I'm asking 2 longtime experts in the field who, by the way, recently served as the top attorneys for my campaign and for Governor Romney's campaign, to lead it. We can fix this, and we will. The American people demand it, and so does our democracy.
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah.
And Jackie, when they hear something like that, they hear him make sense like that, they just scream, "Job killer!" The more sense he makes. I mean, Senator Lugar spoke so highly of the president today. And if y'all don't know, Senator Lugar is a Republican, a much older Republican. And he said that the president was very sensible, willing to work across the aisles.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked up at the TV like, damn. But you know, when you about 90, you don't give a shit what they say about you.
Well, and this other thing too.
If you're a Republican.
Lugar, he lost his seat last year to Mr. Richard Murdoch, who is Mr. Even when women conceive in that horrible circumstance, rape was God's will. Yeah, that's why he's not in the Senate today.
Yeah, can you believe that he lost to that fool?
Well, I believe it because he actually worked with Senator Obama on nuclear proliferation.
That's right.
And a few other things. So, yeah, that's where he was in trouble. And the Tea Party crowd in the primaries there, I mean, they really made him pay for it.
Jackie, do they care? No, they don't care. I mean, they tell this lie every day. We're waiting on the president to leave. We're willing to work with you, Mr. President. But every single thing that this man or the Democrats propose, they fight it. They are filibustering Mr. Hagel.
Well, Brenda, we don't know that yet. Let's see.
Okay.
It comes up on Friday.
Yeah, they think about it.
And I have to say that even John McCain, who was so hard on Senator Hagel in the confirmation hearing, has said, "Look, you guys, you're wrong. He's a good guy."
Jackie, they accused this man. And they'll say it in a minute. We ain't got no proof, but we think he took money from the Muslims.
Well, Brenda, look, it is just like when Hillary Clinton was there talking about Benghazi. And Rand Paul, who I want to talk about tonight, we don't have any sound from Rand Paul, but I have a copy of his speech.
Yes.
Who came at Hillary Clinton with some crap that he had read on some crazy conspiracy theory right-wing website. And he is sitting in the United States Senate talking to the sitting Secretary of State about this crap. What about the weapons that are being smuggled through Turkey and this and that?
Yeah,
the way that Hillary looked at him was like, damn mind.
Jackie, didn't she look at him like, what in the hell are you talking about? What about the gun running on Turkey Scratch Lane? What? She looked at what? Turkey guns? What? She was like, how the hell you just go from? I mean, Jackie.
I know, it was frightening. It was absolutely
frightening. Listen, this is how much of a jump. He went from, okay, I'm breaking it down to y'all from Negro. He went from Kiss Me Elmo to porn star John Holmes. And Hillary Clinton looked at him like he did. What in the ham sandwich is he? What the fuck are you talking about? But John McCain, even though poor John McCain, he is absolutely null and void in the Senate. He ain't got nothing to do but just watch them bumps on his face grow.
Oh, sweetie, I don't know. John, he definitely has issues, but
he came out
to say something.
He tried to roast his friend. He was the first one tried to roast his friend Hagel, and he's my friend. If you were my friend, you got ass kicking coming. He tried to roast him last week in the hearings, and then today he's sitting there sweating like he had just taken a hit of crack. He had to defend him against one of them crazy ass Tea Parties. Ain't been a member but a month.
Oh yeah, and I mean that this guy, Mr. Cruz,
and he was literally accusing this man of taking money from Al Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood and
this came from another psycho right winger who went on the air and accused Chuck Hagel of being a secret Muslim.
Yeah!
Like they accused President Obama. They're a secret Muslim.
Yeah, he's a secret Muslim.
Chuck Hagel has been radicalized by the Islamic. Are you crazy?
And Jackie, they try to cover their ass just to make sure they don't get sued. But they say the shit anyway.
Yes.
Now, I don't have any proof, but this man, it could have come from the Muslim Brotherhood. It could have come from Kiss Me Elmo, could have come from Sesame Street, could have come from Al Qaeda.
Well, what I would like is for somebody to come out, and talk about how, I understand that Mr. Cruz was a member of the Hitler Youth Movement when he was 12.
Yeah, I mean, these some bitches will say anything.
Yes.
And thank God the country is starting to see.
Well, Brenda, just all the contradictions. Well, just like Rubio's speech. All of the contradictions in that speech. And he didn't say anything that meant anything. And on top of that, the president just spoken right in front of him.
Just a minute while I take a sneak up on this drink of water.
All right. The president had just spoken in front of him. And he comes on and he tells us that the president said things that the president didn't say because we were watching the speech.
Yeah, Jackie.
We know that you're lying because we just heard the president talk and he didn't say that. He has never by word or deed done any of the things that you're ascribing to him. So you're lying.
Jackie,
and the American people see that. And the Republicans don't realize that they're just crushing their own credibility with just rank and file regular folks.
Okay, I don't know how many times DJ Tony Sanchez has written in the chat room tonight, liars. He is coming unhinged. Liars, lying bastards. I don't understand. I don't understand your reputation not meaning a damn to you.
Well, because apparently the Republicans do not get.
And that, Jackie, the old ones get the young ones to make a fool. Get your ass out there and tell a lie. You go tell this lie. And the Republican Party really, they're so damn mean that they really will. They just like 3-year-olds. You ain't gonna play in our sandbox if you don't do it.
Yes.
I mean, they really have their group under that kind of control and craziness. Now, the Tea Party is running the Republican Party. They got them going crazy.
Oh, yes. And one of the things, too, Brenda, that I want to say, because one of the things that we never talk about is the importance of parties. Why are political parties important? And this is why.
C.J. Soda Sanchez could not resist. So full of shit. We trying to have a conversation here, DJ Sanchez. Will you please?
Well, look, Tony knows that I'm not looking at
Okay, I need to close this window.
I'm not looking.
Go ahead, Jackie.
I don't care. He can talk about me all he wants to, but I'm not looking.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, well, but anyway, the importance of political parties is simply this. Political parties, they raise money to support candidates. They put them in touch with donors, and they provide training for candidates to run for office.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go against your party, no matter how insane they are,
yeah,
you know, you're just kind of out there by yourself. Well, just like what happened with Charlie Crist in Florida.
Yeah.
And the Democrats would have been able to support Charlie Crist if not for, what was it, Mr. Meek?
Yeah. Mr. Meek is telling it.
Oh, he was horrid.
Jackie.
And I just didn't understand. I didn't understand that at all. But anyway, that's how Florida got Marco Rubio instead of getting Charlie Crist.
Yeah, and Jackie, what makes it so bad is when they lose someone like a Charlie Crist, then they just gonna tell the downright dirty, nasty truth on your ass.
Yes.
And Charlie Crist has just he sealed the deal for Barack Obama here in Florida.
Uh-huh.
As he campaigned for him and see, he was liked here. You know, I never cared whether Charlie Crist was Republican or Democrat because he didn't do no crazy shit.
Yeah, I was about to say, the thing that I have noticed about Charlie Crist is that he does seem to have good sense, and he does not care if somebody is a Democrat or Republican. He's doing well, for instance, in the 2008 election, even though John McCain lost by a mile, the Republican Party were angry with Charlie Crist. This was Charlie Crist's first strike against him.
That's right.
I always like to say it's when President Obama came and he hugged the president. No, the first strike against him was when Charlie Crist insisted that the polls stay open until everybody who wanted to vote could vote.
That's right. And when when Charlie Crist helped add those extra days, those early days of voting, we had 15 days.
Yes.
Of early voting, and he supported the souls to the polls.
Yes.
You know, because this was the black vote getting out, and they knew if they could catch black folks at the church.
Yes.
So they started the souls to the polls, and they go to the churches and pick up these black folks in their Sunday duds and take them right on to the polls. Yes. Charlie Crist supported all of that, never tried to stop it, and then here comes Mr. Psycho Head.
Yes.
The worst rating of any governor in the world ever. Our crazy ass Rick Scott.
That's pretty bad.
And now, after taking $2 billion from our schools and shutting schools down and shit, now he's giving the money back. What the hell did you take it for in the first place? Because I'm telling you, Jack and I have many conspiracy theories here, but ours ain't crazy. That's the difference. Ours aren't crazy. And I'm telling you, the Republicans are trying to stop education because they realize, just like back in slavery, when white folks didn't want Negroes to read, they knew what reading meant. If they understand shit, we fucked. So they made it a law. You read, you die.
Yeah.
And they are tiptoeing back up on us again. What's the first thing that crazy governor in Texas? First thing I'm gonna cut out of that Department of Education and well, the Department of Education, that thing got to go. That's just horrible.
Yeah. Well,
what is the Department of Education? It is simply the federal government setting standards for schools across the country. This is what you got to do. That's why, there are laws. Kids can't just not go to school and all that. That's what the Department of Education puts its stamp.
When Thomas Jefferson became president, one of the first things that he proposed to Congress was a law that made a certain level of public education mandatory. He proposed federalizing education. And the reason that Jefferson did it was because he knew that a democracy could not work if the folks were uneducated. But, of course, when he was president, the South, they had far more representation than they deserved, and they beat that right down. Because not only during that time did they not believe in education for slaves, they didn't believe in education for poor folks. They didn't believe in education for anyone who was not in the slaveholder class.
And this, Jack, it just makes it, I know it may seem far-fetched, but if y'all look at it, who would want to tear down education?
Exactly. I want people to be as well educated as they possibly can.
And I'm telling you, education, and my mother always said it, education is the key to everything. My mother was an educator, and she taught her, and I've told this story many times because I'm so proud of my mother for this. She had 8 children of her own. We were not rich. She was a teacher. My daddy was a preacher and a carpenter. And my mother taught everybody else's kids in the daytime. Then she taught their parents at night, and she did not get paid for it. But these were people who never, their parents may have been born at the time that my mom was born, 1912 or whatever, and they didn't get an education. And my mother made sure that those kids' parents got an education in their 50s, 60s, 40s. It was amazing. She knew that education was the key to everything, and she lived by it. And the Republicans, they just don't want you to have an education because they understand.
And the reason, and before we get, people all mad, and the reason that Brenda says that they don't want you to have an education is because of what they do, not because of what they say, but because of the results, the results of what they do. Says they don't believe in public education. What they seem to believe in, given what they do, is they believe in people to be indoctrinated. Well, for instance, in Texas and Louisiana, they have these voucher programs, which have just been a boon to a lot of these little Christian schools. In Texas, schools that never had more than 10 or 12 students now have 1 or 200. And the state is paying for that. And these are schools that teach that men were riding dinosaurs. The Flintstone, the Flintstone history of the world. And when children, well, for instance, I read an article that was very interesting about the abstinence programs that they have in Texas public schools. Was a professor at the University of Texas in Austin now, big prestigious school. He was teaching a class about, I'm trying to think of it, was it public health or something like that? But he was talking about cervical cancer rates. And one of his male students raised his hand and asked the professor if he was in danger of getting cervical cancer, this young man. The professor laughed at first because he thought the kid was being a wise ass. And then he came to realize that this boy did not know that he did not have a cervix because he was a man. And he went on to discuss the failure of sex education in the state of Texas. How can you not know what your own body parts are?
Because you haven't been educated about it.
That's right, because they don't really discuss these things, and then they teach them all kinds of old wives' tales and crap, and then they send these babies out into the world absolutely unprepared,
not knowing whether you have a pee or a poo-poo.
Don't know if he got pee or punani.
Okay, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't think it, Jackie, if they wouldn't continue to say it. Why would you want to cut the Department of Education?
Exactly correct, because you don't want people
because you want your state
to believe what you tell them. Yes.
You know the reason there's a law about southern states and this voting thing is because the federal government understands that Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, places like that can't be trusted.
Oh, absolutely.
To do the right thing when it comes to voting. So there's a special law for them.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why they just can't come up with new voting laws.
Yeah, which is desperately needed. Yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that. Oh, and also I wanted to talk about, since we were talking about education and wanting folks to believe what you tell them, and not have a good education. Since we've got about 14 minutes left, I don't want to end the show about the State of the Union without talking about Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky.
Oh, please talk about him.
Now, I think of Rand Paul, and this is just my own perception, as a creepy little man.
I do too.
Because his father was a creepy little man. Okay. And Rand, apparently, in this particular instance, the apple did not fall far from the tree.
Not at all.
And I did read Senator Paul gave the Tea Party response to the State of the Union. Okay, so Marco Rubio gave the Republican.
Jackie, did anybody run that? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I believe that ABC
and Fox
may have run it, but I'm not sure. I found this on YouTube.
Yeah, MSNBC.
So it's on YouTube, but I don't know who broadcast it.
Fox.
Yeah, probably Fox.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
But I didn't see anything about that. But the video is on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. And Rand Paul, well, he and his dad, they have some very interesting ideas about. I mean, they believe in kind of 18th century government. Okay. But one of the things that Rand Paul started out with is that Ronald Reagan said government is not the answer to the problem. Government is the problem. The night the president told the nation he disagrees. President Obama believes government is the solution. More government, more taxes, more debt. What the president fails to grasp is that the American system that rewards hard work is what made America so prosperous. Now, we've already been through this, that hard work is not rewarded in our country anymore. But
still
he loves
it
to
is.
ignore that. Okay, and then he goes on to say, what America needs is not Robin Hood, but Adam Smith. In the year we won our independence, Adam Smith described what creates the wealth of nations. He described a limited government that largely did not interfere with individuals and their pursuit of happiness. Now, Adam Smith, wrote this book called The Wealth of Nations. Anyone who takes economics, first semester economics, you're going to get Adam Smith. Adam Smith wrote this book back in the 1700s. Okay,
so what he's saying is, if your pursuit of happiness is having picnics, you ought to be able to pursue that.
Well, no, Brenda, come on now. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Adam Smith wrote this book called The Wealth of Nations in the 18th century. So we're talking a long, long time ago. And the world has really changed since Adam Smith wrote his book. But one of the things that Ron Paul leaves out when he talks about Adam Smith is that even though Adam Smith was critical of government, he didn't believe in this laissez-faire business. He believed that in a market economy, a government was necessary to make sure that businesses observed certain rules of conduct, that property and contracts were secure and honored, and that there was justice, and that the rule of law was maintained.
And he didn't believe in picnicking.
I don't know whether he believed in that or not. He did understand that the government needed to be, that free markets need a referee.
Let me say to the audience. Yes, let me say to the audience, every time I say picnicking, it's
Brenda.
It's because of where the word was derived
Brenda,
from.
You've got to stop telling that, because that is not true.
Okay,
and I told you, and I told somebody else, but y'all just keep on going.
Jackie keep telling me stop saying that, and I keep acting like a Republican. Just tell it anyhow. It's alive now. Okay, go ahead, Jackie.
I keep telling you that.
One day I'm gonna quit telling that lie, but it sounds good, don't it?
I beg your pardon?
It sounds pretty good, though, don't it?
Yeah, it does.
Sound believable.
Cut it out. Just cut it out. Okay, please.
All right. Y'all, look, you can't get Jackie for a partner. And see, Jackie's not like the Republicans. She won't just go along me telling a lie, making up history and shit. She won't go along with it. But the Republicans, hey, you want to tell a lie? That's who you need to run with, Jack. They ain't gonna correct you.
Gosh, you are so funny.
I know. Go ahead.
But anyway, what I wanted to say, what I was bringing up about this is when we're talking about getting a good education. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Rand Paul does is they just pick out the parts that they like best, and they don't look at the No. They never seem to look at the overall message.
No. Why should they do that?
And when did President Obama say tonight that government was the solution and that we needed more government, more taxes, and more debt? That is not anything like the president said.
Listen, most folks said that if Barack Obama wasn't a Democrat, he'd be a Republican.
I know.
They just don't care what he said. Job killer!
Oh, yes. Oh, Brenda, and I'm sorry, there was something I had in my notes that I overlooked, and I just wanted to point this out to everybody.
Okay.
I know that we're running out of time, and you need to play that last presidential clip because it's the perfect thing to end the show on.
Okay.
But in Marco Rubio's talk, he spoke about how if the economy grew at just 4% a year, it would wipe out our financial trouble.
That's right. Everything would be okay.
What Mr. Rubio does not seem to understand, and I know somebody has had to tell him this, but maybe not. The United States, our economy has never grown at a rate of 4% per year. That, for us, is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. It's extraordinary. I believe that there are only 2 times.
Well, George Bush did it. George Bush made it happen, and Barack Obama ought to make it happen.
George Bush didn't make that happen.
Of course he did. You saying it ain't true?
I'm saying it's not true.
Well, we were doing so good under George Bush. I just don't understand why we don't want to go back to those days.
Right. Well, whenever you hear this argument, when you start hearing these fools start talking about the economy growing at 4%, that is an extraordinary thing for our economy. And I'll tell you why. The reason is our economy is so gigantic. Even a percentage of growth is huge. 1% of the American economy is like the entire economy of several different other nations. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, what I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Just think of it this way: is that the United States of America, our economy, is a full 25% of the entire global economy. There are only 300 million of us. Mm-hmm. Our economy is that stinking big. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when people start talking about the economy being a wealthy nation, the United States being a wealthy nation, we're really just beyond wealthy. Mm-hmm. When you think about all the other countries on the globe, and there are 200 and something nations on the globe, if you think about us, the Europeans, the South Americans, let's just do that, just those 3 places. Mm-hmm. If our economy, 300 million of us, have 25% of all the wealth in the world. Okay, think about that. Uh-huh. Of all the wealth in the world, you know, we should have first class everything, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
But we don't.
No. And we ain't.
That's right. Not if we keep going on the Republican track. So, you know, when he talks about that 4% economic growth, and just given what the Republicans in Congress have been doing with the debt ceilings, sequester, continuing resolutions, all this other crap, we're not going to grow any faster than we are growing. I mean, we could really pick up the pace if they would just get out of the way.
Yeah.
But, of course, they're not going to do that.
No, they're not going to do that because...
But don't let them fool you. Don't be bamboozled, y'all.
That's right. Don't be hoodwinked, bamboozled, and all that other shit. because they are just haters. Look, when Barack Obama said, "We the people,"
Yes.
blah blah blah. What did they get out of that? Oh, he gonna take away our guns.
Yes.
He didn't even say nothing about a gun, but they hear what they want to hear. They're
Yes,
just shepherds for the devil. I tell you, they just evil.
Okay, well, Brenda, would you please do me a giant favor?
Yes.
And play Obama number 9.
I will indeed. I thought I had number 8 up, kind of thought I was outsmarting, you, but but number 9 is ready to go. The citizens. Here we go.
We may do different jobs and wear different uniforms and hold different views than the person beside us. But as Americans, we all share the same proud title. We are citizens. It's a word that doesn't just describe our nationality or our legal status. It describes the way we're made. It describes what we believe. It captures the enduring idea that this country only works when we accept certain obligations to one another and to future generations. That our rights are wrapped up in the rights of others. And that well into our 3rd century as a nation, it remains the task of us all, as citizens of these United States, to be the authors of the next great chapter of our American story.
Job killer! I don't care what he says, how much sense he makes, how compassionate sounding. Job killer! That's all they hear. You want to take away our guns? And Jackie, this gun wave, this killing wave that has struck the country since this thing it doesn't seem to affect them.
Yeah.
Till that Negro got loose this week. These killers usually happen by these white boys, but that Negro got loose out there in California that y'all pissed off. And now things kind of looking a little shepherd for the devil even.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they see that maybe this is what it's gonna take.
Yeah, well,
maybe this is what it's gonna take.
I really don't know what it's going to take. But
yeah, after killing 20 babies and they can sit there last night with their thumbs and John Boehner's turd just turning and twirling in his face. But they just, I don't know. I've never, these people are not human.
The other thing, too, about last night is that a large number of the Democratic caucus gave their tickets to sit in the gallery at the State of the Union to people who were victims of gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
And Congressman Stockman from the great state of Texas gave his ticket to Ted Nugent.
Yeah, baby. They didn't even the cameras didn't even show his face, did they?
No, they didn't show him on TV.
Nobody even gave a damn. And I guarantee you that this is his last term.
Who?
The one that gave the ticket to Ted Nugent.
Oh, I wouldn't be too sure about that. I said of Texas.
Oh.
You heard me.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
You know, the Texans, they have been busy for a very long time creating their, quote, permanent Republican majority.
Yeah, they ain't the home of the brave. That's the home of the insane down there.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it, Brenda, is that because of the way the politics in Texas have gone, Texas is getting a bad rap.
Mm-hmm.
Because anybody there are such things as Texas progressives.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of them.
Yeah.
But because of the way their districts are drawn, because of their politics.
Yeah, and because
yeah.
And because their governor is about as dumb as a stump.
Yeah.
And made them look absolutely ridiculous doing the primaries. They getting a bad rap, I'm sure,
yeah.
Jackie.
So I know that I'm usually pretty hard on Texas and Texans. But it's, even though it seems like they're all lunatics, they're not all lunatics.
Yeah.
It's just the ones that we see are lunatics.
Okay, well, y'all, it is time for me and Jackie to say goodbye. We have had a ball tonight, but it's time for y'all to get on over there to DJ Tony Sanchez, where the Steppers Delight has begun, you know, so y'all can enjoy, sit back, relax, take a load off, get over to DJ Tony Sanchez right here at Spreaker.com for the Steppers Delight, okay? Okay, all right. Now, you have been listening to Let's Talk About It, Spreaker's most informative political talk show on the net. All right? I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, and my cohort, the uppity and well-read Jackie Lambert, a.k.a. Miss Uppity Speaks. We invite you to join us every Tuesday night from 9 until 11 p.m. Eastern Time for Let's Talk About It. So tell somebody to tell somebody and bring them over here with you. Thank you, Love Muffins. Thank you, Sandra Johnson, DJ Tony Sanchez, Dave the Rave, Deborah Coleman, and all you listeners out there that join us every Tuesday night. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday night. And don't forget to join me tomorrow night right back here at Spreaker.com at the Brenda White Shows for Up All Night with Brenda White. You know we're going to have a really good time. Okay, so Jackie, say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, we love you. We'll see you next Tuesday night for Let's Talk About It.
See them in the faces, you recognize what you don't know. There's a deeper love inside that finds us, and it's everywhere you go. You see it in your eyes, feel it in the touch of a stranger's hand, in the voices of the children, in a language that we all understand. Differences and preferences should never be a word.